us on to Miss Marvel episode 4.
Yes.
So, I mean, I've written 5 bullet points for this episode.
Okay.
I'm going to read out the 5 bullet points I wrote down, and then we can discuss the episode. So, my first bullet point in all capital letters is just Pakistan. Then we have Red Dagger, training with a question mark, incursion tease, and then time travel question mark.
Incursion tease.
So obviously at the end of the episode, Kamala gets a call from her nan, and she's like, "I saw the train to Beta. You need to come home."
Yeah.
So they flew back to Pakistan. Hence Pakistan. So she's obviously off doing her stuff, to work out what's going on. So incursion tease is when I forget his name, the not Red Dagger's daddy, was explaining what would happen if they open the portal. The way the world, like the way he described the world, like coming over and destroying, that felt like a little bit similar to an incursion to me. Was that just me? Did you not pick up on that? Or
I guess I didn't associate it to an incursion because I always just think of that as we're two the same people, but it could actually it's similar.
I mean, the way he described it, of the 2 dimensions sitting on top of each other,
Yeah.
and taking up the same physical space but on different planes of reality, and then crashing into each other. That's kind of what I got from that. I don't know if that's what they were doing on purpose, or if it's just a coincidence, or what. But that's kind of what I got from that. It's really weird trying to talk about this episode, having seen the followed. So obviously we get Kamala going over to Pakistan, which I think looked beautiful, and it was nice to see Pakistan in modern media not painted as a war-torn third world country. Obviously, I know we went to a big city, but still, it was nice to see it not, oh, this is their big city, but it's all buildings that are like 2 stories tall. There was legitimate skyscrapers and lots of busy traffic and stuff.
Yeah, and I kind of liked how when they're stepping out of the airport and Kamala, you kind of get that sense that Kamala's like, oh, I'm like, this is kind of feels more home-like than America. Like, you got that, they really sold that kind of feeling of like, oh, I'm not like the odd one out at school sort of thing that she has in America. Like, this is my culture, this is like home.
So you say that, but I think they actually showed a really interesting parallel at the same time. So what I've heard a lot from people who are born from 2 cultures, like Kamala, is Pakistani in heritage but born in America, is they feel like they don't fit in anywhere because they're too American for the Pakistanis and they're too Pakistani for the Americans. And I think we also got a little bit of that with like her not being dressed appropriately for the weather and the food all being too spicy for her and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and then wearing jeans and couldn't go in the restaurant.
Yeah. I found that really interesting because it does kind of show that kind of feeling that sometimes, because of the way cultures tend to separate themselves from other cultures, when you get someone who sits in between them 2 cultures, instead of being accepted by both cultures, they kind of can risk being left out of both cultures.
Yeah, I get you.
Which is what a theme we saw earlier with
Kamala's friend.
Nala.
Yeah, no.
Nala.
Something
No, Nala's the one from The Lion King.
You're asking the wrong person to remember a name.
Yeah. So like that's a recurring theme of Muslims in America who are born in America sometimes don't get to fit in anywhere. And it's I think I like to take that as kind of a message of maybe we should all just realise that we're humans and treat each other a bit nicer. But there's definitely a kind of underlying theme throughout the show of no one really fits in anywhere, therefore we all fit in.
Yeah, I get you.
But it was beautiful to see Pakistan done in such a realistic way.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm sure you've seen the meme on Twitter before of like the picture of the same street just with different color filters put on it, and it's like different locations. So it's like you've got like the gold shimmery filter put on it, Mexico, a
Yeah.
blue kind of cold filter on it, Moscow. Um, and with us in the recent Moon Knight and now Miss Marvel shows visiting foreign countries and them not just resorting to filming it in America with a filter,
Yeah.
was quite nice in my opinion.
Yeah, they're definitely making a strong effort to properly represent these cultures and places.
And I think
And
it's really important. It's going
oh,
to help with everyone around the world understanding and respecting other cultures.
100%. And I think it also shows just like how much filmmaking has progressed in that sense. Of like they now understand the value of that and that they should be doing that.
Yeah. My issues with episode 3 have continued into episodes 4 and 5 of the pacing is really not right again, in my opinion. Episode
Um
4 felt like it wasted a lot of time just like with her trying to find the train station and then at the train station, followed by that very quick kind of chase at the end.
So that didn't feel too bad for me. I guess the bit that kind of felt off for me in episode 4 with pacing would be more like she just met, like, gone into the Red Dagger lair and all that and that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we'll do some training. And then it's like, oh no, fight scene, like,
Yeah.
shit hits the fan immediately. It's like,
Yeah, and I know you're probably sick of hearing it as well as everyone is, but I'm sick of having to say it. It's the amount of episodes. They're not giving themselves time to flesh out all the stuff they want to flesh out.
yeah, I mean, it's at this point, it kind of has to be like I've said many times, where like they're being told you only have this many episodes.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that that's the situation because you can tell that they obviously need or would like to be able to spread out the show more. And
It
it's always worse to have, in my opinion, it's always worse to rush a story than to drag a story out.
mm-hmm. People this invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe would rather watch one too many episodes and go, oh, you probably could have cut an episode out there, than be sitting there going, we need you to make this last a bit longer to flesh some stuff out for another 3 episodes.
Problem as well is it's like we've gone from our experience of MCU is been this year long build up of a story and like these characters because films are like released in such a long gaps and stuff and the main story arc of Thanos and everything took years to do to now we kind of expect that sort of pacing with how characters are developed because we just kind of having a 3 years between like films is it adds to that. Whereas this, we're like, oh no, we're cramming what probably would have been years of progression into like 6 episodes, and it just feels way too quick for what we're used to.
I couldn't agree more.
And I mean, yeah, hopefully it changes. Hopefully, like, still hoping that like this means the final episode at least feels better.
Yeah.
I'd rather they cram it in now.
Yeah. Overall, I think episode 4 was still solid.
Oh yeah.
It's just the pacing issues that I had with episode 3 are still there, just to not the same extreme.